Hey everybody, welcome to Digging Deeper Jazz. I'm Jeff Antoniuk. Welcome to the lesson this week. And thank you to all the adult, amateur, semi-pros out there, the folks that I love talking to. I know there's other people sneaking in here, but these videos are really meant for the people that I love working with, the adult, amateurs, semi-pros, all instruments. And yeah, we've got a great concept for you here today that's going to apply to anybody that solos, whether you're a singer, whether you're a bass player, whether you're a trombone player, whatever it is. And this is the idea of tritone subbing a 2-chord. So we're getting a couple layers deep here under the jazz onion. Maybe about a month back, I did a video on Tritone Sub. So if you haven't checked it out, that's the sort of prerequisite for this one, for this to make too much sense. Make sure you understand about tritone substitutes. Tritone substitutes happen on the 5-chord, typically. So I got a ton of response to that video. I really appreciate it. And questions were, can we tritone sub other chords? And the answer is, yeah, we're jazz musicians. We can do whatever we want. We don't have to have a license to play these things or anything. We can do whatever we want. So sure, what we're going to talk about today is tritone subbing a 2-chord. So the idea is we have these 2-5-1 progressions all the time, right? 2-5-1 progressions. So typically we put the tritone sub on the 5-chord, 2-chord, tritone sub 1. Okay, so a really, really hip song, or a hip idea that we see composed into songs or overlaid onto songs is tritone subbing the 2-chord. And just today, I was teaching a couple of my adult master classes, and we played 2 songs, both of which have a 2-chord tritone subbed written into the song. One was an Antonio Carlos Jobim song called How Insensitive. One is the great standard tune called Alone Together. Both of those have a 2-chord that is tritone subbed. So let's talk about what that is. Look at the sheet here. Example number 1 shows a typical 2-5-1 progression. Great. Now, example number 2 shows what happens when we tritone sub the 2-chord. So the idea is, instead of the 2-chord, the D minor, we're going to build a chord a tritone away. A tritone is 3 full tones. I think of it as the interval of an augmented fourth. So what's an augmented fourth or a flat fifth away from D? The answer is A flat or G sharp. We'll call it A flat here. And now here's the thing. When we tritone sub a 2-chord, the qualities of the chord don't match up the way it does with a 5-chord. So we play kind of fast and loose with the rules a little bit when we tritone sub a 2-chord. Very often we make it a dominant chord, like in my example number 2. Sometimes you'll see people make it a major chord. So instead of D minor, G, C, our new chord progression is A flat 7, G7, C. So you can see in example 1, we have this circle of fourths, D, G, C, architecture of our bass line. So now when we tritone sub the 2-chord, we get this great chromatic descending dominant chord to the 1. It's a really, really fantastic sound. So that's what we're going to get into. I've got a John Coltrane lick for you. I have a lick, I can't even remember it, whether it's Sonny Rollins or Dexter. I've got a couple great licks coming up for you on the sheet. By the way, write me if you want to get a hold of this sheet. But what I do want to tell you is I've been doing some online workshops for just 12 people at a time, 12 of you at a time. And we just finished 2 of them, and they're sold out and they're doing fantastic. We have 2 more workshops coming up the next 2 Thursdays, July 2nd, July 9th. And they happen, like I said, Thursdays, and they happen from 1 to 2:15 New York City time. So if you're free during that time, or folks are actually buying the recordings of those, we can do that too. If you're not free at 1 o'clock New York City time, you can drop us a line and get the recording as well. So if you're interested, July 2nd, July 9th, we're talking about playing ballads on one of those, and we're talking about digging really into the half-whole diminished scale and the Duke Ellington song Caravan. So if either of those are of interest, we've got a couple spots left. Okay, so let's hear what this sounds like. So what I'm going to do is have my iReal Pro, the thing that I use for playing along with in my teaching and everything else. What I'm going to do is have this thing playing literally 2-5-1. I'm going to play it's going to play D minor, G7, C. And look what I'm going to play in example number 3. The notes that I have under D minor 7 do not look correct. I have A flats and B flats and E flats. This is a parade of wrong notes. right? I mean, those notes are not D minor notes. So you can see that I'm thinking A flat. So I play a very simple A flat idea. So I made sure that when I'm playing these really wrong notes, that I want really good organization to them. So I tried to play something that's nice and melodic. I played something that's very based around the A flat triad. And then what did I do in the next measure? I played the same thing down a half step to prove to you I knew what I was doing. So when you hear this, you're going to hear some real crunches over the 2 chord. That's the point. Why would we do a tritone sub? We're trying to create tension, but we're trying to create organized tension. Anybody can create tension. Can you create tension that is organized and then resolves? That's the name of the game. That's what we're doing here. So let me play example 3 for you. All right, so what you heard there, I was alternating a very consonant chord tone kind of lick so you could really get the sound of the 2-5-1 in your ear, and then tritone subbing the 2. So you heard it really rubbing, right? It was so different than the first example, that second example with the tritone sub, but then when it moves to the 5 chord, I hope you notice like, oh, okay, I think I got it, resolution. Then the third time I did the very consonant one to get that sound back in your ear, a little palate cleanser for you, and then played the exact same thing the 4th time. And yeah, it really has some energy. It really clashes, and that's the point. So if your ear just hears that as ugly and nothing more, this video is not for you. If it sounds intriguing, if it sounds organized and like, whoa, wow, I don't have anything like that in my playing, this video may be for you. Okay, let's look at the next example and this Coltrane lick from a blues. So he plays this in the last 4 measures of a blues. The piano player does not know he's going to tritone sub this 2 chord. So the piano player is playing sort of the regular D minor, and he plays all this crazy A flat stuff over it. Check it out. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to play, the consonant thing to begin with to tune your ear to what the changes are. Then I'm going to play what Train played. Right, so that one's even a little more challenging. I think the reason is when the 5 chord comes out, Coltrane keeps the tension really up. So it's exceedingly tense, the tritone sub over the 2 chord. Then he's still playing lots of sort of altered sharp 9, flat 9s when he gets to the 5 chord. The interesting thing is, what does he do when he gets to the 1 chord? He just plays a C triad. He plays the most consonant thing known to man or woman. So to really pull us back to sensibility, again, to let us know like, yeah, I amped it up there, but I know what I'm doing, is I think, sort of what was happening there. Really interesting. So yes, these are some challenging sounds, but I want you to know it's not random. It's not BS. It's really organized. And this idea, putting tension where we wouldn't expect it on the 2 chord. So let's look at the last example I have here. This is one of the very first licks, like years and years ago. I remember transcribing a solo. Here's the bad part. I don't remember who it was. I can't remember if it was Dexter Gordon or Sonny Rollins. And I've gone back and tried to find the solo, and I don't know what it is. But this is a great lick where, again, tritone subbing the 2 chord. This may have been the first example that kind of hipped me to this sound. So, check this thing out. And by the way, before I play the last thing, I want to let you know, I hope you guys make it to Maryland Summer Jazz. It's a virtual jazz camp. This is our 16th year. We always do it in the real world, but because of the virus this year, we're doing Maryland Summer Jazz online. And by the way, I have hundreds of hours of experience with online teaching and like how we can really work together well. We have a faculty of 18 people, some of the finest players and university teachers from around the country, and then 8 special guests like Jeff Keyser on the piano, and Peter Erskine on the drums, and Jeff Coffin on the saxophone, and on, like really major special guests coming in every day. So if you enjoy this information, and like, what if you got to do this for 6-7 hours a day for 4 days in a row? It's an incredible experience, and we've got a couple spots. So if you're interested, please let me know. Okay, let's check out this last lick. And if you recognize where this came from, please let me know. I'm going crazy trying to find the recording. All right, this is the last example on the sheet. Check this out. Okay, I threw in some bonus stuff for you at the end. Those weren't licks, that was just me improvising. And the whole way through, I was thinking A flat, G, C. I knew that the accompaniment was playing D minor, G, C, but I was just trying to play really good, solid melodic information. Now that is huge. So I'm sort of glossing over that today. I'm saying A flat, play A flat, and by the way, play great melodic information. That takes some study. That takes some doing. So that's why I would love to work with you, whether it's the workshops, Maryland Summer Jazz, and help you hone this. That's what I'm here for, is to help you move ahead way faster than you can imagine. So I'm glad you appreciate these videos, but if you want to take it one step further, we can do that. So have a great time with this idea. I hope you hear this in some of your favorite recordings. And as always, send me some comments, send me some requests. Let me know what you want to hear next. We will see you next time.